was out in the desert, and I had another desert thought come to my mind that I wanted to share with you. I was thinking about snakes and the process of shedding the skin that they go through. And snakes shed their skin for a variety of reasons, and one mainly because they're not like mammals where their skin grows with them as they grow. And they also shed to get rid of parasites and so on, and other reasons to shed their skin. When they're younger, they shed their skin more frequently. As they get older, sometimes not for another month and a half, 2 months, that they shed their skin. And it kind of reminds me of the Christian walk. As we're growing in the grace of our knowledge of the Lord, and that internal struggle of our walk with God as we're submitting our will to Him, and God's cleansing us and getting old ways out of us. Even though we're a new creature, our mind has to be renewed. Even though internally we are a new creature in Christ, and now there's this internal battle going on with the old man and the new man. And the old man is essentially dead, but in our mindset, some of those thoughts linger still. And there's this growth process that happens in us that's very uncomfortable also. But in order for us to go to the next level in God, we have to shed that skin. We have to go through that process, which makes us vulnerable also. It's an awkward place. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes there's a lot of emotion involved. We're getting out of our comfort zone. And just like a snake comes out of his comfort zone, because he can't shed his skin underground in his hole. He has to come out where he's vulnerable to shed his skin. And some of you right now that are listening to this is going through that shaping and molding, and God's trying to get you to shed your skin, so to speak, and step it up to that next level He wants to bring us. And we always have to keep in mind that God has one goal for us, and that is to transform us into His image, because ultimately His desire for us is nothing but good. Sometimes when we're going through that tough time, that sloughing of the skin, so to speak, where we're getting ready to be transformed to that next level, it's really uncomfortable. And sometimes we just question God. We don't understand it. The pain sometimes can be so hard and frustrating that we begin to question, does He really have our best intention in mind? And He does. God's been doing this for a long time, and He knows how to take care of us. I mean, He created us. He knows how to take care of us. It's part of our growth as well, that if you're in this nice comfort place and you've been there for a while, I'm letting you know the shedding of the skin is coming up, because you can't stay there and continue to grow. Because if you desire to continue to grow in Christ, that sloughing, that next level is going to take place, and it does involve hard times, frustrating times, because you're having to challenge where you're at and move to that next level. And there's sometimes we're set in our ways. I was thinking the other day, there's so many denominations out there, and these denominations all branched off from something. And because we got the Lutherans and the Methodists and the Catholics and the Christians and the Protestants and the Pentecostals and the faith teachings. And so all of these sects and all of these religious traditions all stem from some event that happened. We know, like, a lot of the Pentecostal background came from the Azusa Streets. And so all of these started from something. And sometimes we can get so locked into these religious traditions and these churches, and God's trying to move us out into more freedom in Christ. And so I just want to encourage you today, if you're stuck in religious bondage, if you're stuck in traditions of man, if you're stuck in a way of thinking that is starting to combat God's truth, I encourage you to let God do that work in you, because I tell you, when all is said and done, you're going to be feeling free in Christ. It's going to be a blessing to you. And God's going to do a deeper work in you, but it's hard to let go sometimes. Sometimes we were raised in certain churches. I wasn't really raised in any particular church, but sometimes we were raised in certain thinking and ideologies and teachings and doctrines and stuff like that it gets us stuck. And sometimes we just have to say to God, I lay it on the ground. I don't care if this church that I belong to, I think, is the one. I have to lay even that on the ground and trust you to open up my heart to help me slough off that skin, that dead skin, and I can't cling to it, because if I cling to it, I can't grow, just like a snake. If the snake doesn't let go of that old skin, he's not going to grow. He's just not going to, because he doesn't have the capacity to grow in his old skin. So we don't have the capacity to continue to grow in our old ways. So if you want to grow in Christ, you're going to have to allow God to transform your life. It's tough. It hurts sometimes, but I'm telling you, when you get to the other end, it's amazing. This walk that I've been on for the last 20 years has been up and down. God and I have had battles upon battles, and I trust you, it's all on my side, because God's pretty consistent in what he does and his love. I'm the one that either pulled away or got angry or got hurt or whatever the case may be. But be encouraged. God is doing a great work in us. Hang in there. Press on. Let him transform you. Slough off that old skin. Put those hands in the air and say, God, I surrender to you. I don't understand what's going on in my life right now. I'm going through a dark time. I'm going through a painful time. I have emotions that are up and down and all over the place. But in the end, you're going to slough off that old skin on me, and you're going to bring me to a new place, a new level that's going to be amazing, incredible. So God bless you. Here from the desert, thoughts from the desert, sharing them with you. And you guys have a great week, and I'll have something coming up about the New Year's. All right? God bless.